What is going on, everyone? AP over here at Run Pure Sports, bringing to you once again. We got the Stroke Game Show coming off an awesome Masters. I mean, like, it wasn't as exciting as we all wanted down the stretch. Like, I was hoping for this Brooks Koepka Rahm battle, and Rahm just owned him. Like Koepka, a beta, like Snyder, like you said. Before we get into all of that, and before we get into the RBC Heritage, let's bring the fellas in. Locks, how are we doing today, man? How was your Masters week?
Yeah, we're doing okay, AP. We're doing all right. Glad to be on another show with you guys. Masters was not too hot for this guy. I took some pretty crazy stands. I honestly had Rory in all of my lineups, so not very fruitful for me, but hopefully it was fruitful for some other people. It actually ticked me off because my whole player pool actually did really well. I think almost everybody made the cut, and Rory just happened to be that one dude that just tore me down on everything. So it is what it is. We move on. Sometimes we take hard stands. That's just what we do, and you live with it and you move on and pick some winners the next week. So that's what I'm here to do this week.
I'm with you, man. The theme of the week for me was trying to get overweight on all three studs. I got over 45% on all of them. So I was feeling you on the Rory thing. I did have like a lot of Rahm Koepka builds, which was really nice. It saved my week for me. I think I returned right around 70%, which sometimes that feels like a win, to be honest. Like, it really does. I mean, you guys know that feeling too. Obviously not a win, but sometimes it does feel like a win. Snyder, what is going on, my man? Another good week for the Soldiers. Obviously, one of them missed the cut, but you had two Soldiers, inside the top five? I mean, Snyder. Love to see it. Absolutely love to see it. What's going on, my man?
Yeah, it was a good week for the Soldiers there. A couple of them got inside the top five. We were close there. Koepka hurt my feelings for sure. I had an outright on him, and I had him in pretty much all of my lineups, which helped some stuff there. But I did have about 20%, 25% Zalatoris. I mean, that was just hurtful as well. The dude knew he was going to withdraw, I think. I don't know why he was going to wait that long. I mean, if he's going to go on with this, whatever's going on now, I mean, you would have thought
he's done for the season, so you don't have to worry about him.
He's going to have surgery now. I mean, he knew that was probably coming, and I don't know why he was. It is what it is. But yeah, it was fun. Had some Rory as well, but my main biggest stand up top was Scotty Scheffler, and I think he had probably the best ball striking tournament he's ever had. Maybe. I mean, he gained so many strokes there. I mean, he just could not make a putt inside 5 feet the whole week. I think he missed around 15 putts inside 5 feet, which is definitely not going to get it done. But looking forward to this week. I love this course. I love that it's an elevated event, and I love that we get all these golfers here for this Pete Dye track. So looking forward to it.
Yeah, really rough scene for Scotty Scheffler, but you got to really respect what he's doing, because he averaged, I think it was 1.78 putts per hole, and that was well above the average there. Like, it was like by far the worst out of every single golfer in the field. He finished tied for 10th, and he was the worst putter out there. I mean, that's saying something. Like, all it takes, an average putting week from him, and he's going to be in contention. It is how it is. Scheffler, just an incredible ball striker. It's going to come into play this week too, because, I mean, Snyder, we'll get to the course preview here in a second. But I mean, we got small greens. It's a huge emphasis on ball striking and approach play. So, and Snyder, we got an elevated event. So, I mean, after everyone, if you could hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, it helps us out a lot over here at Run Pure Sports. But Snyder, let me just kick it right back to you. It's the RBC Heritage, Harbor Town, right? Links Golf or Golf Links. Talk to us about the course this week.
Yeah, we're here at Harbor Town this week for this elevated event. 97 of the top 100 are going to be teeing it up this week. Really happy that they decided to make this an elevated event. Like I just said, I really like this track. I think it's one of my favorite golf courses on tour that they play. So I'm really excited to see this Pete Dye design, which is a par 71. It's going to measure 7,191 yards. There's going to be lots of water in play. 18 holes will have water, but it doesn't really come into play on all 18. So I think that's a bit over-exaggerated there with the 18 holes with water in play. But these Bermuda overseeded greens, are going to be some of the smallest greens we see on tour here. They're going to measure right around 3,700 square feet on average, which is close to like the Pebble Beach greens. Very small greens here. They're going to be rolling at around 11.5 on the step meter. The Bombers here are not going to have that big of an advantage here on this second shot course. Golfers are going to be needed to work the ball both ways, off the tee and approaching the greens here. Golfers, they're going to need to be strategic as they try and get through these tree-lined fairways. You're going to need to be on the correct side of the fairways as well, too, on many of these holes to get your perfect shot towards the green there. The majority of the iron shots are going to be coming in from around 150 to 175 yards. A few of the courses that I would compare to this would be like Sea Island, Waialae, and Colonial. Some of the key stats we'll be looking at this week: strokes gained off the tee, approach around the green, putting Bermuda, and then Pete Dye course history.
Yeah, very good. And so if you haven't, if you're not a member, you should be a member. Use the code LOCKS15, Snyder15, get you 15% off your payment. You could still try the code Big T44, or I think that's what it is for 44. Yeah. I know it's getting cut off here soon. I think it might be Wednesday. So if you haven't signed up, use that. If it doesn't work, use LOCKS15 or Snyder15 for 15% off. But when we're looking at Harbortown Golf Links, past few winners: Jordan Spieth last year, Stuart Sink, Webb Simpson, CT Pan, Satoshi Kodaira. And this used to be, obviously after the Masters, used to be very weak field. No one cared about this event. And now it's an elevated event. All the big boys are there. It's going to be awesome, in my opinion. The other thing, too, just to keep in mind, Jordan Spieth missed the cut last year at the Masters, showed up here and won. And he did it, I believe, while losing strokes putting. It was all tee to green play. I think that's important. We're going to get into why once we get down to the tiers and we break these golfers down. I think there's some interesting plays that we're going to dive into. Again, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button. If you're new to the show, we go tier by tier. We talk about guys that we like, and we talk about at least one fade in each tier. Locks, I'm going to start with you. We're going 10K and up. We got, it looks like 5 golfers. Colin Morikawa all the way up to Masters winner, Jon Rahm. What are you doing with this range? And talk a little bit about Rahm. Coming off that green jacket win, what are we doing? It's an elevated event. I think it's a really interesting discussion point.
Yeah, definitely an interesting talking point for sure. I mean, Rahm just looked so good on Sunday, so poised. It was great to see, and it's tough to come back, I think, personally, just after such a high like that. I mean, you just won the Masters, and don't get me wrong, if there's anybody that can do it, it's him, it's Scheffler, it's anybody like that. So, I mean, I still have interest in him this week. I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to pay the most expensive price for him just because I think I'm going to be looking at some other guys in this range. So I'm probably personally going to be off of him. But, I mean, the way the guy's hitting the ball, he's putting it a little bit better. It's just I don't see how you don't play him. But at the same time, like I said, it is hard coming off a win at the Masters like that. I mean, he's only played here once in the last 5 years, so I'll probably stay away from him. The couple guys I am looking at right away are Colin Morikawa, just an elite ball striker. Just seems to fit this course well, in my opinion. So I have a ton of interest in him. And then Jordan Spieth as well. Played well last week. His putter's been a little bit better. He's always an elite ball striker, and I'm seeing him like the lowest owned out of all these guys from what I'm seeing. So anytime I can get Jordan Spieth around 10% or lower, I mean, I'm willing to take it. He's a guy I could easily see repeat. So I'd say Morikawa, Spieth for me, and then Scheffler. Just the guy's just a stud. Tee to green. I kept playing him in Showdown because I'm like, when his putter gets hot, it's game over. His putter just never got super hot last week. In the final round, we saw hints of it. But, I mean, tee to green, the guy's just so elite. I don't know how you don't play him. So I think I'm on Morikawa, Spieth, Scheffler. I'm off of Cantlay and Rahm personally.
Yeah, I'm with you. Like, when I think about this course, I want – and just, like, go read the my Power Ranks article. I'm going to start doing that each and every week. I'm really just trying to identify a good course fit by doing that. And the theme that continues to pop up when you look at this track is ball strikers. The other thing, too, is around the green game, because these greens are small. You're going to see even the best, approach players, iron players in the world miss some of these greens. that's where you're going to want that solid around the green play. And so I'm not as worried about putting that much. And so a guy like Colin Morikawa, I think, is very much in play here. Snyder, speaking of Morikawa, your boy, what are we doing with this range this week? Everyone wants to know. I mean, I think everyone knows, but we got to know, are you on Colin Morikawa this week?
Yeah, I'm definitely going to Morikawa. I put a tweet out on Monday, I think it was. I said either Cameron Young or Colin Morikawa was going to win this event, so I'm going to be heavily on those two guys this week. I like Morikawa here. He gained strokes across the board last week, gained just over 8 strokes en route to that top 10 finish there at Augusta. You could tell he was not wanting to be out there Saturday morning, though, as it was cold, windy, and rainy. Typically, he hates those conditions. I think he gave away 4 or 5 shots during that period, too. I think this course was actually built for Morikawa, though, with the way he can move the ball and such off the tee, the elite iron player he is. And you don't have to be that good of a putter here. I mean, if he putts to a 0, I think he can have no chance of being right there on Sunday. So I like Morikawa. And then I'm going right back to my guy, Scotty the Kid up there. I mean, his ball striking is it's just been absolutely dialed in over the past couple of months. I mean, he's averaging over 10 strokes gained per event. He's averaging 10 strokes gained per event over the last 5 events. I think it is 5 or 6 events. Last week at Augusta, he gained over 6 strokes approach, and he should have walked away with the event there if he could only make those putts inside of 5 feet. He lost nearly 4 strokes putting last week, and that even includes a couple long ones he made on Sunday. So he was definitely the worst putter out on the field last week. I think he's got the ability to play any shot that is going to be needed here. I mean, you're going to have to play a bunch of different types of shots, left to right, right to left, low shots, high shots. I think he's got that all in his bag. If he can just putt to a 0 here, I think he can have no trouble taking away another elevated event here this year. So I like Scotty. And then I think I'm going to, if I was going to play another guy, it would probably be Cantlay for me. I know the dude dresses horribly. He plays slow, but the course history here is just absolutely elite from him here. I know he hasn't won like Spieth did, but he's been right there knocking on the door every time he's played here about. So I definitely like Cantlay if I was going to add a third guy in, but I'm heavy on Morikawa and Scotty.
Yeah, I mean, I was going right to Cantlay. Like I tweeted about him. I was tilted. We all were. We all hate Patrick Cantlay, but the guy can still make us money, and that's exactly what I care about here. So, like Cantlay, I mean, when you look at it, like look at his history here alone. 2nd place last year. Actually, he was in a playoff with Jordan Spieth, I believe, and then obviously finished 2nd, lost that. 3rd, 7th, 3rd, missed the cut in 2021. This course, when I think of this course, I think Cantlay is like absolutely built for it. So I really like him. What I'm tinkering around with, the other thing we got to start factoring in potentially is kind of that just like, you know, these guys getting tired, like burnt out a little bit. I mean, Scheffler was battling all the match play. So think about this. He was battling the match play. He made it all the way to the final. And then you got the Masters, you know, a little bit after that, obviously after the Valero, and now another elevated event. I mean, we saw Rory obviously got out of this event. So it's like, does that fatigue start to factor into some of these guys? And I like where Cantlay's at. I like where Colin Morikawa's at. I think their price is fine. What I'm seriously considering doing is fading Rahm, Scheffler, Spieth, starting my builds at Patrick Cantlay. I like Cantlay. I like Morikawa. And I believe I'm going to fade the other 3 guys. Again, Scotty like checks every box except for putting right now. I mean, he ranks 1st ball striking, 1st tee to green. He's awesome around the greens. He's awesome at finding fairways. He checks every box. We have so many guys in this field that I think are mispriced. I just want to leverage that, get overweight on some of these misprices that I'm seeing, especially guys that I think fit the course, which makes me need to cross off a few of these guys up top. It's Rahm and Scheffler. They could very well own me. I just hope that they don't. Let's keep it going. Snyder, I'm going to kick it right back to you. 9K range. Another loaded range. Obviously, it's an elevated event. Guys down here that feel just, again, underpriced. I mean, Xander down there, Finau, Cam Young, who has Webb's caddy on the bag. Webb, obviously a winner here. His course history is awesome. So, I mean, what are we doing what are we doing with this range? And what are you doing with Cam Young, a guy that you and Locks have been high on all year? And the guy's an absolute stud, Now he gets, Paul Testori, I think is his name, on the bag?
Yeah, he's been.
What are you doing with this range?
He's been pretty remarkable since he got a Tesori on his bag. They're second at the match play, and then was 7th last week at Augusta. I'm definitely going to be on Cameron Young heavy this week. I'm actually pretty excited that they priced him up above Finau and Scheffler. Hopefully, that kind of keeps his ownership a little bit in check. So I like Cameron Young quite a bit. He was in contention here last year, finishing 3rd, and now gets a caddy who has some of, if not the best course history here when he was with Webb. So I think he's going to give Cam the extra few keys he needs to win this event. So I really look forward to Cameron Young winning this event. I would actually pick Cameron Young over Morikawa if I had the chance this week. So that's how much I'm in on him. Another guy I'll be going to here is Viktor Hovland. I like the price tag on him. He's kind of priced up above those other couple guys that should help kind of keep his ownership in check. Looking at some ownership here, I think he's going to be like right around 15%, which is fine there. I think he's going to be lower owned than like Cantlay, Morikawa, and Young, which makes him nicer for tournaments and such. He's only played this course once back in 2020, but does enter with some strong form here. Great ball striker. He should do well. I think this course is kind of set up for him as well. He's kind of like Morikawa, a great ball striker and such. And then if I had to play another one, I'm going to go with probably Xander, just based off the price tag there. I think it's a really good value tag on him here. Great option this week. Again, the course should fit his game as well. I mean, he's one of those strong ball strikers. He enters with strong form as well, 10th and 5th in his last 2 outings. So definitely like some Xander as well. I'm going to be fading Finau in this range, and then probably won't have much Max Homa as well.
Yeah, very good. I think I'm going to join you with the Finau fade. Depends, though. It depends on if Locks can talk me into Tony Finau. Locks, let's kick it over to you. 9K range. Xander underpriced. We got Cam Young, who coming off a T3 here last year. Upgraded caddy on the bag. What are we doing with this range?
Yeah, it kind of upsets me that Snyder's going to pick Cam Young to win. I wanted to be the only guy on him. I've been on him all year, pretty high. I think he's a great play. I mean, Tesori's course history with Webb Simpson, and we'll talk about Webb later because I do have some interest in him as well, and I know my boy AP will as well, but we'll get to that later on. I do love Cam Young here. I could easily see him winning this event. I mean, like Snyder said, 2nd and 7th since he got Tesori. He's 3rd here last year. I mean, the guy's just a stud. He's a ball striking machine. I mean, his putter has gotten better, I think, already since Tesori took over. And that's really the only thing that's held him back a ton. I mean, yeah, you want accuracy and stuff here. He's not the best with that, but I don't see that being a problem. I think he contends here again. He's probably my favorite play here. I'm fading Viktor Hovland. A lot of people are going to play him. What scares me with him is around the green and putting. He just has some nuke putting rounds, but overall, he's really not that great of a putter, and his around the green game is kind of not really that great in the last 24 rounds from what I'm looking at. So I'll get away from that ownership there. I've never liked Hovland, so I'm just going to stick off of him. I'm going to stick off of Schauffele. Just off the tee and really accuracy and greens and reg. I haven't seen it from Schauffele lately. I mean, yeah, we got some decent finishes, 5th and 10th his last couple times out, but here really he doesn't have great course history here. I'm okay fading him at a decent ownership, and I'm in on Max Homa and Tony Finau. Finau really 26th, 17th, 19th, 24th his last 4 tournaments. He's got a 33rd here back in 2020, but I don't know. I'm different than you guys here. I think he's a great ball striker. His approach game has been there. He just needs some putts to fall and stuff. So I'll gladly take him as the lowest owned guy from what I'm seeing in this range. I'll gladly sprinkle some of him in if he's going to be the lowest owned out of all these guys. And I'll fade Schauffele and Hovland at the higher ownership. So for me, it's Cam Young, Tony Finau, Max Homa here in this range. Yeah,
very good. Excuse me. The thing about Xander, I'm with you guys on Cam Young. I just really, really impressed. I think the caddy upgrade is huge. one thing I noticed at the Masters, just, you know, like Paul Testori is just like constantly talking to him, like constantly just like giving him advice, giving feedback. Just with a young stud like him, you got to like that. And shout out to Indy Jeff, Cutmaker Jeff, as I believe he is on Twitter. He's got Snyder. Do you know what his podcast is? He was with us last week. I think he's going to come on for the next major as well to do the show. Do you know what his podcast is? I just listened to it. But
it's the Cutmaker podcast.
Cutmaker podcast. So, yeah, he interviewed Cam Young's caddy on that podcast. It was a great listen. I listened to it earlier today. You got to think, like, you got to be excited for where they're at with this course, bringing in all that type of knowledge. So, like, I think it's a mistake if you're, like, fading Cam Young. Doesn't sound like any of us are going to do that. Love Cam Young in this range. For me, then, it's like when I look at Xander Schauffele, so I'm going to do my best to try and sell you on why I like Xander Schauffele this week, Locks. So when I look at him and when I look at this course, it's a Pete Dye design. You're going to see more irons off the tee here. It's going to take away from some driving distance. Xander, yeah, can he bomb it? Yeah, but like you don't think of him as like a big distance guy off the tee, you know, like some of these other guys. He has good distance, but not like the big boy distance that we see from like Rory, from like John Rahm, from like Justin Thomas. So like you're going to see more irons off the tee. One thing that I see in his game that I think could really help him here, he's been really good around the greens. He gained 4.5 strokes at the Players around the green. Obviously, it's something we couldn't really track last week, but I believe the metric looked good. And then he also gained a stroke at the API. So I think he brings good form in around the greens. And then it's just that 9,300 price tag. I just can't get over it. I'm hoping that ownership spreads out because it's going to be easy to get overweight on anyone in this range that you want to be on. So for me, I like Cam Young. I like Xander. I think I'm crossing off Max Homa. Like I get Tony Finau. I haven't been playing him that much. And I don't.
If he finishes 20th again, you're buried, I think.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good point. I think if you like him, you get on him, just like Locks is. I think if you don't, you don't. And I think it's as simple as that. Hovland's like the one that it's like interesting because if you think back to the Masters, he made some insanely like ridiculous putts, like 30, 40 footers. And so like Locks, I mean, I know you saw those putts. Like I saw them. It was just like, are you kidding me? Like a 50 footer just drains it, bombs it right in Tiger's face. I mean, insane. Like, so I'm with you on Hovland. I think his around the green game is improved. But again, it's not improved enough to justify a $9,800 price tag, in my opinion. So for me, this range is easy. It's Cam Young. I think, can we all agree that Cam Young probably the best play in this range? Is that the one unanimously that we can make?
Absolutely.
Yeah. And then it's Xander Schauffele. That's what I'm doing.
I think you talked me into him. I'm gonna fade Homa. I'm gonna play Schauffele just based on the around the green and putting.
I just like it's an elevated event. Like we're gonna see the other thing about this course when I went back and looked at it, and I was trying to prepare myself. Elevated event. We've never seen a field like this at this track, and especially after the Masters. So there's a lot of unknowns going here. One thing that we've seen is this course being shorter, more irons off the tee. It brings more of the field into play. That's why we've seen the past winners, Satoshi Kodaira, CT Pan. Again, it was a weaker field, though. So there's a lot to navigate. I want to get in on these guys that I feel are a little underpriced as well. And I just think Xander is that guy that's underpriced. We have a guy that I think is like really, really underpriced in this next range. We all know that. We all hate him right now. I can't hate him just because he's my guy, but he's definitely been really frustrating. Snyder, let's go back to you in the AK range. A lot of plays down here. We got Sammy Burns, Sung J M, Tom Kim, Matt Fitzpatrick, who like loves this course, right? Isn't this like one of his favorite events of the year? Why he always plays it? What are you doing with the AK range that I think is loaded, absolutely loaded? We could definitely see the winner come out of this range. What are you doing with the AK?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of good options here. I think I'm going to go with a couple of Koreans as my top two guys here, though. I really like how Sungjae's been playing. He's been super consistent this year. Comes off a nice T16 last week. Seven of his last 9 events have come in 21st or better, 3 top 10s in that span as well. he struggled putting here in the past, but I really think his putting is kind of coming around. He's gained strokes putting in 4 straight events now. Gained 7.5 strokes ball striking here last year and 5.9 in 2021. So I think Sung Jae is a good price there at 8.6, so I like him. And then I think this is a great spot for Tom Kim to finally pop. It looks like he's going to be 10 to 12% ownership, so I think it's going to be pretty low ownership there. I was watching him quite a bit last week. It was a really good ball striking for him. Pretty much one of his first in his first trip to Augusta was one of his better ball striking days all around. I thought Kim just needs to get some putts to fall there like he did last week. He's been putting a little better in the recent form there. I think he's going to be a lower owned guy, so I like Tom Kim at 8.5 at low ownership. I think the putter is just pretty much the only thing that's been holding him back. He's a great ball striker. I think this is a great spot for him as well. And then you look at Sam Burns. I think he's going to be would be the third guy I would look to here. He's going to be another guy I think falls through the cracks here, 8.7. I look for him to be somewhere similar in that 10 to 12% ownership. He was coming off the win there at the match play. Played all right at the Masters, 29th. He was 6th the week before the match play. So I think his game's kind of trending around. And usually we like to play Sammy Burns on the Bermuda grass surfaces. So I like him there. Fitzpatrick, if I have another guy, I would probably throw him in there. I don't think I'm going to go to your guy, JT. I think the ownership's going to swell up there. And if he beats me, he beats me. I mean, this is the first time we've seen him price this low, though, I think, in his career. I think it's 2015.
So, no. There was one other time where he was priced in this range, and I don't chat, maybe you know, maybe I'm wrong. I swear he wasn't like as high owned as he should have been, and he won that event.
It was
I can't remember.
It was like 10 years ago, I think.
I thought it was sooner than that.
Maybe it was 2015. I think it was 2015. Yeah, like 8 years ago. But yeah, he did win that event, I think, though.
So it's a really interesting discussion point. So Justin Thomas, there's so many like things that we could talk about with this range. I literally think like, would any of us be surprised if JT won, if Tom Kim won, if Fitzpatrick won, Lowry, Hatton, Sung Jae Im, Sam Burr? This range is loaded, in my opinion. I think Justin Thomas at 8,900 the guy's kind of in shambles right now. Like he can't putt. The ball striking's still good. He's been incredible around the green too. It's I'm really trying to gauge ownership. I'm telling myself it's an elevated event. It's a loaded field. What do we always see? What did we see last week? Ownership spreads out. If you pulled up the Fantasy Labs contest dashboard, you would have seen that like the 150 max players, they played like 85 plus golfers. Like there are people that are playing Larry Mize and stuff. I mean, baffles me. Like, I don't know why you'd play him. Terrible. Like, guy went 80, 81. Maybe it's just they don't know golf. I have no idea. But you're going to see ownership spread out. And that's just like, man, I'm considering, like, do I just go all in on JT? All in for me is 70%. That's kind of my high-end cap. I don't know, Locks. What are you doing with this range? I need someone to talk me in or talk me out of my boy JT.
Man, I think this is the perfect just nut spot on everybody. Just comes out and 6 over in his last holes after the restart, misses the cut, just in shambles. I don't think ownership's going to get too crazy.
Real quick. So, like, all right. So, Jason, love that you're watching. Love that you're commenting in the chat. We always appreciate that. Actually, Jason, hit me up. Send me a DM on Twitter. I want to get you some swag. I appreciate you being in chat. But he wasn't like JT. He had the bad side of the draw, but so did Rahm. He was playing good up until that final, that final next day, correct? Like, He was right there. I mean, anyways, keep on going.
I think he gets to be like 25% ownership personally. I think I'm showing like 20 right now, and it's early.
I mean, if it gets that high, I'd be shocked. Either way, I'm still going to play the guy. Yeah. I mean, to me, you look at his tee to green game, you look at the around the green game that AP talked about. I mean, this guy's a professional. He's not going to always putt bad. Yeah, is he having a rough putting year? He is, but tee to green wise, I mean, how can you not still play this guy? He's not checked out. He was just defeated because He had, after the restart, the guy freaking missed the cut when he should have easily made it by 5 strokes. Yeah, he looked down and out. He looked like he was going to cry, and I would too if that just happened to me. It's one of those things, but I think that's the reason he's going to come back with a vengeance. I mean, he's finished 8th here, 35th last year. But to me, 17% tee to green game, just been solid. Around the green, solid. Off the tee approach, everything's there. He just needs the putter. And I think he finds it this week. I'm okay with him. I could see him winning for sure. Definitely my favorite play in this 8K range, no doubt about it. But the other guys I'm looking at are Sungjae Im, Lowry, Tom Kim. Those are probably my other few guys I'm playing. I'll sprinkle in a little Burns just because we like Bermuda Burns on these Bermuda greens. But other than that, I'm off of Fitzy. I'm off of Hatton. No Fleetwood and no Thigala for me. I'm not following up on the Thigala, just crazy round on Sunday. That was sweet to watch. Don't get me wrong. His chip in on 16 was pretty freaking cool to see. Just awesome to watch. But I'm going to be off of him this week. Fitzpatrick, I get it. If you want to play him, he does like this course. I can't play a guy that still chips cross-handed. I'm sorry, but it's just so brutal to watch.
It is crazy.
It's insane. Before this,
have you ever tried that, Locks? Like, Locks is a good golfer.
I have, and it's so weird. I putt cross-handed, but I could never imagine chipping cross-handed.
That's insane.
No way. It just feels so awkward. So I'm off of him. I say for me in an order, it's probably JT, Sungjae Im, Shane Lowry, Tom Kim, in that order for me in the 8K range.
Let me ask you one more question. Locks, you're a good golfer, and honestly, we should ask our new golf guy, Drew Matthews, the same question. He's scratched really good. Small greens. Do you think there's any chance that could help someone like Justin Thomas? Because it's like I would love to look at like the 2-putt rate or 3-putt rate here at this course, because it can't be like relative to the field average with smaller greens. Like when you think of like Pebble Beach and these different tracks, you don't see a lot of 3-putts because it's just the greens are smaller. Do you think that helps someone who's struggling putting, or do you think it just doesn't even matter?
I'd say maybe it helps a little bit as far as like leg putting and stuff, but I don't really pay too much attention to leg putting. But what I'm looking at here with small greens is more greens in regulation around the green game. Like if you got small greens, you want somebody that's good around the green. JT is good around the green. He hits a lot of greens in regulation. His tee to green game is solid as hell. So that's why I like him a ton, honestly. I wouldn't really play too much into it as far as putting goes with small greens. It can help a little, but I never look at it that way. I look more around the green in that situation because most of his putting misses have actually been, I think, more closer range is where he's been struggling a little bit. So I don't really see that being a problem. I'm looking more at him because of the tee to green game with the greens in regulation and being able to hit these small greens.
Yeah, another thing to keep in mind, too, is Jordan Spieth did win while losing strokes putting. I believe there was one other guy who did 2 over the last 5 years. Had to be like CT Pan or Kadira. I'm not sure, but it was something I looked up. So, again, we all search for like stuff to, make a case for the guys that we like. we add that little bias into it, and maybe I'm doing that with JT. I like him obviously this week, and I like him just because the ball striking is still good, and I hope that we have if he could have an average putting round, he should be there on Sunday. But that maybe that's just too much of an ask for JT right now. His putter is in absolute shambles. However, in this range, there are so many of Tom Kim, I think, is a phenomenal play. Snyder, you talked about him. I think Tom Kim is really rounding into form. It's an elevated event. I like where do I worry about Tom Kim? These big boy courses, like when you think of like a U.S. Open, a PGA Championship, where distance is priority. I think Tom Kim needs a few more years before he's really going to contend at events like that. Event like this, where I think 7,100 yards, not even that. Like Tom Kim, this track sets up really well for Tom Kim. Shane Lowry, he has awesome course history. 3rd last year, T9, T3 at 19. He looked phenomenal. I think you could make a case for Hatton, Matt Fitzpatrick. I think this range is absolutely loaded. Sahith Theegala, I'm going to be off of him. How frustrating. This is a former workbench play of the week. It wasn't on him last week. I wish I was. He was incredible. I think I'm going to move off. It doesn't seem like a course that really fits his style. We got to make cuts. I think this range is really tough to make cuts. My favorite plays, JT, Tom Kim, I think are the top two, closely followed by Lowry, Fitzpatrick, and Hatton. And then M is up there too. I think I got to cut Sam Burns and I got to cut Tommy Fleetwood. That's where I'm at in this range. Let's keep it going. If you haven't yet, hit the like button, hit the subscribe. It helps us out a lot over here at Rumpier Sports. We have a ton of premium content. We got the premium show tomorrow. Drew Matthews, Big T, JSU are going to be breaking that down tomorrow night. We got the heat map that I do. We got the playbooks that Snyder does. Snyder, you absolutely crush it on Showdown content. Last week I had a good week. Showdown, I think it was round 2 that I was real close to shipping. Phenomenal job. Keep it up. We all appreciate it. Members appreciate it. If you're not taking advantage of Snyder's Showdown playbook, make sure you do. Locks, he puts his core up for that as well. Snyder, let's get on to the 7K range. What are you doing with this range?
Yeah, I think this is the range I like a lot more, guys, than I do even that 8K range. I think there's a lot of even built-in win equity here in this 7K range. Start off with Corey Connors here. He failed big time last week as chalk. Now looks to be coming in. I think he's going to be in 15%, maybe even lower than that, as a lot of people are going to jump off after he burned them last time. So I'm going to be jumping right back on Connors here. It was a big letdown spot last week off that win, and it did happen. This sets up to be a very well spot for him, though. Ball striker's track. It's no surprise to see his course history here then as well. 21st, 4th, 12th in the last 3 years. So I like Corey Connors this week. JT Poston is probably one of my favorite plays in this range. Solid start to the year, followed by a little bit of a slump, but now looks to be playing great there as well, as he did to start the year. He played really well last week, despite some struggles during round 3 on that Sunday in the tougher conditions there. He was 9th at the match play and then was 10th the week before at the Valspar there, where he gained over 5 strokes approach. The putter has been solid as of late. You look at his course history here. He's got one of the best course histories in the field, I think. 3rd last year, 8th in 20, 6th in 2019. His average round score here for those three years was 67.3. So I really like his upside. And right now I'm only seeing him at 7 to 10% ownership, I think. So I like Poston quite a bit here. And another guy, he's been a soldier for me a couple of times, Ben Martin. He's playing some of his best golf of his career right now. I like to see how he's getting it done, too, because it's pretty much all with ball striking and approach numbers there. He has 3 top 10s in his last 5 events and did it at the Texas Open while losing nearly 2 strokes putting there. But he gained over 9 strokes of ball striking in that, which overpowered the bad putting there. If he can putt to a 0 here, I think he's a real strong option here as well. He's made 6 of 8 cuts here. Did finish inside the top 3 back in 2014, it looks like. I know that was a while back, but I really like how he's rounding into form coming into this event where he has a lot of history. And then Matt Wallace is another guy I like to target when this game's kind of trending upward, and it has been. I think the score sets up well for him too. 7th at Valspar, won the Punta Cana, then finished 28th at the Valero. So I really like how his tee to green game has been in those events. He has gained a strokes approach in 5 straight events. He played well here back in 2021 and finished inside the top 20, gaining strokes across the board and 4.5 ball striking. So Matt Wallace is another guy I'm be looking at. Like, there's some other guys. Our guy, Mr. Ham, Wyndham Clark, Chris Kirky's there. Quite a bit of options here. I know you guys will hit on some other guys, but I will be fading Montgomery and Henley in this range.
No love for our boy. 2 iron covers 2 gloves.
Yeah, you guys can cover him.
4 condoms. Aaron Wright. Yeah, like for me in this range, I'm going to be crossing off a lot of golfers. I'm going to be making a lot of cuts, kind of similar to last week. But Locks, before I get into kind of who I like here, what are you doing with the 7K range?
Yeah, I'm the same way, AP. I'm going to be making a lot of cuts here as well. It's very interesting, actually. You can build this week. I think you can build a stud lineup in the mid-tier, or you can build a stud, and you could really build a stud lineup with 3 high-tier guys And some of these low 7K guys, I mean, looking at this, there's a lot of interesting ways you can do it. That's why I think ownership is kind of going to spread out this week, because people are going to kind of go their own way with how they want to build things. And if you spend up top, there's plenty of names down here that you can jam in. If you just stick in the 8K range, there's a lot of good freaking names there. But as I'm looking at the 7K range, the names that jump out at me right away, Matt Kuchar, just been solid. I mean, tee to green, really everything. 3rd and 9th in his last 2 events, 3rd, 18th, 41st, 2nd at this course, just elite course history. And the guy's been playing solid. So I got a ton of interest in Matt Kuchar here. I'm really crossing off probably Bradley, Connors, Henley, and Rose right off the bat at the top of this range. I know that's a lot of ownership I'm kind of getting off of up at the top of this range, but that's just personally what I'm doing, I think. So I'd start with Kuchar. Fowler, I got a ton of interest in. He's got 2 missed cuts here, so a lot of people aren't going to play him. Those were his bad years. I mean, we've seen him. He was struggling the last few years, but this year just such a big turnaround for the guy. I love to see it. I'll play a bunch of Ricky Fowler this week as well. I think he contends here. So Kuchar and Fowler for me up here. Chris Kirky, always a guy I love on these tracks. I think his around the green game is just so stellar. I mean, he doesn't really have a weakness right now. He's playing really well. So I'm going to be on Chris Kirk as well. I'm with Snyder on the Montgomery fade. Just tee to green wise hasn't been there. The guy's really just a good putter, and that's what kind of saves all of his rounds. So I'm going to be off of him. I'm going to be off a lot of other guys here. Webb Simpson, we were talking about Cam Young and having Webb's caddy. That's, I mean, just done well for him here. Obviously, Webb likes this course, so I'm going to be jamming Webb. I hope you're with me, AP. I'm okay playing a little Webb Simpson down here at I'm saying sub 10% for sure. He'll probably be around 5 is my guess. And then I do like Snyder's call JT Poston. I think he's in a great spot. Great course history here. He's playing decent, striking the ball decent. If he can get a hot putter too, look out for him. So I do like JT Poston. And then just going down to these lower end guys, I mean, Denny Putz, I don't mind me a little Denny McCarthy action down here at 7,200. Good ball striker, can get hot with the putter, hits a lot of greens, so I do like him. Ben Martin's a great call. I do like that call, Snyder. And then as I'm looking down here way at the bottom, Sam Stevens is a guy that's kind of jumping out at me, in all honesty, at 7K flat. Yeah. Just ball striking's there. Around the green is really his only struggle, but the guy hits almost 70% of his greens in his last 24 rounds. I mean, if you're doing that, you're doing something right. And he's a decent putter as well. So 2nd and 3rd in his last couple events out. He hasn't played here from what I'm seeing. So that'll be interesting, but that doesn't really worry me. If he's hitting the ball that well, playing that well, I do got some interest in Sam Stevens. But that's pretty much it for me. I might sprinkle in a little Davis Riley. I do have a little bit of interest there. Maybe you guys can talk me in or off of him. But I do have some slight interest in him as well.
Yeah, I like that Sam Stevens call. So, this range – for me, I think we're going to see, some top 10s. I don't have the winner coming out of this range. I definitely think as far as DFS goes that we're going to want maybe 1 or 2 guys down from this range, mixing them into our lineups. I'm going to start at the bottom and kind of work my way up. I actually have a little bit of interest in Aaron Rai. I know we always make fun of him, 2 gloves, iron covers. It's just so much material to make fun of this guy, but the course fits his style of play. So I think he's more of an MME play for me, just having a little bit of him. Another guy I want to go back to is Adam Svensson. Coming off a miscut, tilted a lot of people at the Masters. I love going right back to a lot of those guys. Flop lag, I think it's a perfect flop lag spot. Canadian, good ball striker. This course fits his style. He's good around the green. More irons off the tee. He'll find more fairways. The ball striking's always been there. And outside of the Masters, he's had some good form. I like the Ben Martin call. I think I'm going to be on him with you, Snyder. And then it's you can make the case for guys like Matt Wallace. Matt Wallace, a winner at the Corrales Punta Cana. What does Matt Wallace do good? He's a good ball striker. He's good around the greens. I think he's a good play this week. Webb Simpson, I'm going to have a little sprinkle of him. Tom Hoagie, 7.4K. This dude is one of the best ball strikers out there. He continues to rank first on approach. He's not that good around the green, which is a concern. But if he hits a high green and regulation number, he's going to be right there. Like, he's definitely going to be right there. So I think he's a good play to mix in. Siwoo Kim, we like him on P die tracks. Matt Kuchar, well, like you said, Locks, some of the best course history here. Corey Connors, again, flop lag. He tilted everyone at the Masters, everyone. We got to get back on Connors. Connors' ownership probably is going to be maybe not cut in half, but maybe cut down by a third compared to what he was at the Masters. He's definitely going to be lower owned. I think he's a phenomenal play. So that's kind of who I'm on. I'm going to make a lot of cuts in this range. I think Ricky Fowler is interesting, but like I'm going to cut Taylor Montgomery. I'm not going to play Woodland. Woodland was awesome last week. I was really surprised at how he played. I just don't think this is a good track for him at all. But I mean, he played awesome last week. I think we got to look at him for majors. Moving on, I think maybe Woodland just a big game hunter now. That's at least what I saw in his game last week. So a lot of cuts for me in this range, and then a lot of guys that I like. I like the JT Posting call. I think this track is perfect for him. So this range for me, it's going to be a lot of cuts. The Adam Scotts, the Gary Woodlands, Taylor Moore. Billy Horschel, not on these guys. Sepp Straka, my boy, not going to be on him this week. But then there's going to be a lot of plays like Matt Wallace that I'm going to take stands and be overweight on. Snyder, let's go right back to you. Let's get down to the 6K range. Then we'll get to our winners, and we'll get out of here.
Yeah, there's a few guys I like down here. I don't like a ton of guys down here, though, so I'm going to try and end my builds more so in the bottom of that 7K range. But I do like a Ben Griffin. He's been a guy I've been on since he came off the Corn Ferry Tour last fall. I mean, he's been such good and consistent for us. 14 of his last 16 cuts made. He's been such a great value for us. I'm going to go right back to him there. A nice price tag on him. Michael Thompson, I think he's an interesting play down here. The ball strike has been solid for him over the past two events, gaining over 2.5 strokes. I think this makes for a solid tournament. It's definitely a tournament play down here, a large field tournament play. He was top 20 at the Valspar and then top 40 his next event at the Valero, so I kind of like him down here. And then a guy I've been kind of watching lately is a guy we've been trying to play early in the year, but it looks like he's finally found something in Nick Hardy. He had a rough stretch to open the year, like I just said, but he's now made back-to-back cuts, finishing 13th at the Punta Cana and then 28th the next week at the Valero there. The irons are trending upward, which is definitely what we want to see. Gain strokes everywhere besides around the green at the Valero. So Nick Hardy is a guy I'm going to be looking at down here at 6.8 Dusty, the lower you get. So I'm going to try and not dip down into these guys at all if possible.
Yeah, I thought you were going to talk about our boy Akshay, and I thought we were going to try to pronounce his name again. That was hilarious.
I just left that one for you.
I mean, I'm nervous. Like, if I can't pronounce your name, chat will rip us a new one. I'll skip over that person. I'm just kidding.
That's what I did.
Well, we've never cared about name pronunciations over here at Rucker Sports. Locks. I mean, the 6K, like one thing that Snyder said that I like is finishing my builds in the 7K range. I think you can do that this week, but we got some plays down here. CT Pan, former winner. You have like Patton Kazat. You have some guys where we wouldn't be surprised if they scored a top 10. So some ball strikers. I mean, what are you doing with the 6K range? How much are you playing down here? Are you Xing a lot of this range out? What are you doing down here?
Yeah, just speaking on that, I mean, I built a line earlier in, like Snyder said, yeah, you can end in the 7K range. I mean, I made a lineup with Morikawa, Cam Young, and JT and still finished in the 7K range. So it's a lot of stuff where you're not going to be ending here a lot. But if you want to jam even more top heavy, yeah, you can get some guys down here. And I'll just touch on a few that I really like. One of them is Nick Taylor at 6,900. The guy's been playing really good golf. Not the greatest course history here, but if I can get him at 5%, the way he's hitting the ball, I mean, tee to green, he's putting well around the green game is good. I have some interest in him. Ben Griffin, who we've liked kind of throughout the year, I don't mind sprinkling in a little bit of him. And then guys like Joel Damon at 5%, it's just a guy, he's got decent course history here. And guys down here, you're just looking for like a top 15 or something. If you can get a top 15, top 20 from one of these guys, I mean, you're winning. I mean, in a good position. You know what I mean? If you can get somebody like this into the top 20 and you got one of these guys at 5%, you're already a step ahead. So guys like Ben Griffin, Joel Damon, Nick Taylor, Akshay, I will have some interest in Akshay. I'm not even going to pronounce his last name so I don't get roasted. But I do have some interest.
Didn't we say it was
it's Beisha,
Batia? What is it?
I think it's Beisha. But
are we going down this road again? What'd I say, Batia?
So we're going to let the chat roast us again. I don't even care. We're just going to go with it. It is what
we need a show where Holden can run the show, but it's like, let's get JT Hayes, Snyder, myself, and it's just he throws names at us, and it's like it's got to be like, all right, it has to be like a flashcard that comes up, and it's like pronounce this name. We got to do it. Like we could bring hockey players into it, like the hockey players. Oh my gosh, I couldn't even imagine. Baseball always gets me. NBA, I'm usually pretty good just because I watch it, 24/7. And golf, I'm usually pretty good. But it's like Akshay doesn't, you don't see a lot of coverage with him. So it's, anyways, I digress. I'm with you guys on this range. Like, I will say, like you do have some winners down here. Like, I'm not saying I'm going to them, but it just makes you think a little bit. Now, at the same time, we've never had an elevated event. We've never seen a field like this here. And so I do think the prudent play is just crossing a lot of these guys out. Like, don't let the Ches Reeves, the Satoshi Kadairas, like the guys down here kind of suck you in. Unless you're going a true stud in value approach. If you want Scotty, if you want Rahm up top, you're going to need some of these punt values. I just think that everyone's going to try to play everyone. I think you're going to see a lot of these punts get some ownership, and that just makes me want to go like real heavy some of those underpriced plays. And I know I'm not trying to talk people into JT. I'm going to be on them, but you can get on him if you want. And in my defense, I wasn't that high on him last week, to be honest, mainly because like he wasn't in the good draw. Something Snyder you talked up all week, and so it kind of saved me a little bit. But like, I would be kicking myself if I didn't take advantage of that price tag this week. As far as this range goes for me, there are a couple guys that I think are a little interesting. Brendan Todd, the Todd father, 6,900. Hashtag nice price tag at 6.9K. I think it's a good track for him. He's got a fourth place finish all the way back in 2015. He 26 last year. Brendan Todd, he's not a distance guy. He's more of a find fairways and he's good around the greens. I think he's interesting. Nick Taylor, 6,900. I have a little bit of interest in him. I don't like when you look at this range though, it's like, man, I don't want to play a lot of these guys. CT Pan, 6'6". I really think the more I think about it, you got Chesson Hadley down there. In an elevated field with this much money in play, it's going to be an added pressure for some of these guys that aren't used to playing for that much money. I just want to cross them off. You could add David Lipsky to that list. Like, he kind of fits the mold here. I just don't want to do it. I'm going to make a ton of cuts in this range. I think I'm going to stick to the higher price guys in this 6K range. Basically, it's Brendan Todd, a little bit of interest. It's Nick Taylor, a little bit of interest. I think I'm going to be content with finishing a lot of my builds in the 7K range. And that's where I stand in the 6K range. Go ahead, Locks.
There's just a couple more I want to touch on, AP, just for the people. Because I know there is some people that will build a lot of stars and scrubs. And I do like Eric Van Rooyen, your lineups. He's had decent course history here. I don't mind getting on him. He's hard to get right, but I mean, I just think that's too low of a price for him, in my opinion. I mean, we've seen what he can do. He's won PGA Tour events. I mean, a guy at 6,700 that's won before, I can get behind that. 10th and a 21st here his last couple times at this event. So I do like him. And then another guy I did want to mention down here is Tyler Duncan. I do got a little bit of interest in him as well. Yep. So just those couple guys, if you're building down in this range, that I think could contend here, at least get us a good finish if you're looking down this range. I just wanted to mention those couple guys.
Yeah, I can always you can always talk me into playing Tyler Duncan on a track that is shorter, and because he's not big off the tee at all, but he's a good iron player, decent around the green. So I like that call. All right, Snyder, let's get on to our winners. How we do it each and every week. We just pick who we think is going to win, and then we give you a longer shot. We're going to do that, and then we're going to get to our final thoughts, and then we'll be out of here. Snyder, who do you got winning this week?
Yeah, I'm going to go with Cameron Young here. At the best odds I can find anywhere is 22-1, so I'm going to lock in that with Cameron Young. And then for my long shot, I'm going to go with a guy who's got some better win odds, and a lot of guys priced above him, and JT Poston at 66-1 there.
And I really, we got, 60, 70 people watching. I really, we got this Wrigley game right now. Like, speaking of winners, if you didn't stack that game up, you might be struggling because it's like, this game is freaking insane. Our boy Steve Boyden's at the game. It's like 8-9 right now, and it's like, what, in the fourth inning? I mean, it's absolutely nuts. But anyways, Locks, let's get it over to you. Who do you got winning this week? And then a long shot.
Winning this week, I was going to have Cam Young, so I got to make a little switcheroo here. I'm going to go with our boy JT coming back off of the just blatant miscut. After the delay, I think he's just going to own the people this week. I'm going to go with JT to win it. My long shot, what are Ricky Fowler's odds? I'm going to go with my boy Ricky Flower as the long shot.
66-1. You can get JT at 26-1. You can get JT at.
I'm going to go JT as my winner, Ricky Flower at 7,600 as my long shot to take it down.
Yeah, very good. I think so. I'm not betting this, but I think after the guy was trending all last week for slow play, I was tilted by him. I think you guys were tilted by him. It's insane. Watching it, the thing that tilts me the most is, Locks, have you ever seen a guy do this? Get up to his putter, and I'll just try it with my feet, or with my hands. He does this little thing. You know what I'm talking about? Have you seen Patrick Cantlay putt? What are you doing? Just get up there and fire. He's I don't know.
Everyone has their pre-shot routine, and it's a thing. But it's still, that's a little ridiculous. I have no idea what the hell he's trying to do when he's doing that. Maybe the guy just can't get comfortable. But to me, that's why I've worried about him. His putting's actually been going downhill lately.
Well, don't tell me that, because I think he wins this week. I think he trolls us all after, trending last week. I think the course sets up so good for him. It's just, he's a good iron player, good around the greens. I got Patrick Cantlay winning. I'm not betting him, though. The bet I like is actually, and then this honestly makes me really like him in DFS formats too, but it's Tom Kim at 40-1. So he's already won twice on tour already. The course sets up great for him. I think both of you guys said that you liked him. Yeah. Tom Kim, 40-1. Awesome bet. Awesome DFS play. That's what I got this week. Snyder, give me your final thoughts.
Yeah, it was fun to break this down. I'll have the playbook up here later tonight. The cash chart will be up as well. And then the showdown content, it'll be full force again this week, round 1 through round 4 over at runpuresports.com. Use that promo code Snyder15 if you want to join the movement here. But to keep crushing it. We've got a long, great golf season yet ahead. Baseball is just starting. We've got MMA coming up as well. All sports, one price. I'm sure there's going to be tennis. There's going to be NASCAR. Everything else is rolling. So looking forward to one of my favorite courses on tour with this elevated event.
Yeah, couldn't have said it better. Locks, final thoughts this week.
Yeah, just super excited for another week. Obviously, pay attention to Discord. Did we talk about weather? There's no weather anything going on, is there, Snyder?
Not yet, but there could be something kind of brewing up. Maybe, possibly Thursday afternoon. But I just stay tuned to Discord. We'll have that all covered in Discord and on the premium show tomorrow when it gets a little closer, I think.
Yeah, just watch that premium show, and as usual, pay attention to Discord. I know all of us guys will be in there. A lot of coordinators will be in there. Obviously, try to keep you up to date with Will Zalatoris situations, anything like that. Crazy withdrawals. It just sucks when that happens, but we try the best we can to update you guys as far as we know. So, yeah, just go with your gut, and let's run Pier again. Yeah, couldn't have said it any better. Again, if you haven't yet, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. It helps us out a lot. If you haven't, if you're not a member, come check us out. You can try us out for a week, for a month. Use the code LOCKS15, Snyder15 to get you 15% off. My final thoughts are have fun, each and every week. Have fun with this week. I do think it's a good
MME week. I think just with it being an elevated event, I think it's interesting. We've never seen a stacked field like this one. My preference is going to be to get overweight on these mispriced guys. Maybe that makes me a little bit chalky, but I'm always finding ways to get a little bit different. There's always you can eat some chalk, and there's always ways to get leverage on the field when you're looking at your builds. Again, we got all the premium content's going to be up tomorrow, the playbook, the core plays. I've been trying to, if you do MME, last week I got my player pool up. I'll get it up this week in SaberSim, our partners. So make sure that you're looking at SaberSim as well if you use that on the Rumpier Sports side. Again, fellas, we got Snyder, as you said, PGA's in full swing. So many awesome events back to back to back to back. We got a Millie Maker this week again, which is awesome on DraftKings. It's going to be in no time. It's going to be the PGA Championship. So really fun times. A great time to be a Rumpier Sports member. With that, Snyder, I'm going to have you get us out of here. For Snyder, for Locks, I'm AP. Snyder, get us out of here.